Hello everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on Reimagine Your Remote Work Strategy with HCL Cloud Workspace. My name is Sapna Goyal. I'm the Senior Program Manager at HCL Microsoft Business Unit and your host for the day. Before we start, allow me to guide you a bit about the tools to ensure that you have an interactive experience during the webinar. If you want to ask anything to the presenter, please click on the hand raise button and we will attend to you. You can also type down your questions in the Q&A and chat section below. It will be taken up during the scheduled Q&A session towards the end. Please do complete the survey form at the end where you can request a call back from our subject matter expert in case you want to know more about what we are going to discuss. Now, without any further ado, I think we are ready to start. Let me introduce you to our speakers today, Mr. Balakrishna Murthy, Senior Cloud Solution Architect from Microsoft Partner Success Team, and Mr. Santhan Saha, Senior Product Manager, Digital Workplace Business Unit from HCL. Can I have the agenda?
Hi.
Yeah. The agenda for today's webinar will be, we will give you a little background about HCL and Microsoft partnership. Then Bala will talk about Windows Virtual Desktop capabilities, high-level architecture, and how it addresses specific business needs. After this, we will cover HCL Cloud Workspace on Azure solution, which aim to deliver an unmatched virtual desktop and application experience on Azure. Any questions that you have will be taken up during the Q&A towards the end. Yeah. So now let me begin with the legacy partnership between HCL and Microsoft, which is more than 3 decades old. The aim of this partnership is to make digital transformation a reality by empowering every person and every organization on the planet. Our teams are closely aligned and we work very close with Microsoft. There are nearly 18,000 trained Microsoft consultants in HCL across various verticals. HCL is a global Azure expert MSP and a gold certified partner across 17 Microsoft services. There are a lot of joint investments made by both the organization in multiple areas. You can see that we have Azure COE, IoT Colab, Lab 21. All this is powered by Microsoft AI platform. We also have a dedicated Microsoft business unit, and the focus of this business unit is to focus more on the Microsoft technologies such as Microsoft Azure, business application, Microsoft Dynamics, 365, IoT, AI, ML, and so on. Now let me hand over to Bala to cover Windows Virtual Desktop. Over to you, Bala.
Thanks for the introduction, Sapna. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. This is Bala. Very excited to be in this session and talk to you about Windows Virtual Desktop and some of the capabilities it provides as well. We'll talk about some of the scenarios and use cases that drive desktop virtualization, and we'll also talk about some of the recent trends in this area. We'll cover how WVD tries to address it and the differentiators and how it stands out in comparison to other competing solutions. And we'll also talk a little bit about the architecture of WVD before I hand over to my HCL colleague, Santhan. So desktop virtualization is a mainstream scenario that many of us in our enterprises already have in place. There are some key drivers for desktop virtualization that we have seen. The first key driver is highly regulated industries. There are industries such as financial services, government institutions, which need to provide access to a lot of sensitive data in a really secure and effective way so that employees as well as partners and contractors can actually access those applications and sensitive data in a secure way. That's a key requirement that comes up for desktop virtualization. Um, the workforce, the nature of workforce that we have is rapidly changing. There are mergers and acquisitions that happen in the enterprise space quite often, and this results in a highly elastic workforce where new employees get added. In the case of a demerger or a sell-off, there is a reduction in the overall workforce. So it really requires a highly elastic infrastructure as well to meet the needs of your employees as well as partners to be able to access your systems. The other key trend that we are seeing is enterprises want to give their employees as well as their partners uh, the ability to use their own devices, including mobile devices, tablets, and any other new form factors that emerge. The idea is to be able to use their own devices while being still secure and compliant to corporate IT policies. And a desktop virtualization solution provided remotely enables that sort of connectivity to your employees to be able to use their own devices. This also applies to other scenarios such as call center workers or branch workers who are not essentially part of your corporate network and they are accessing your applications from outside your corporate network. So for those employees as well, it becomes a very important scenario to have desktop virtualization capability. There are other specialized workloads, particularly in the engineering side, when you have CAD applications or other engineering simulations that you might want to be using. And these often require highly specialized hardware devices as well. You might need GPUs, you might need highly performant network cards, and creating a dedicated infrastructure for these workloads is proving to be more and more expensive as we go along. And the ability to use virtualization also helps here in the sense you have a more efficient way to deliver these highly specialized workloads as well. So we have all seen the rapid change that COVID-19 has brought to how we use our enterprise systems. And as I'm sure quite a few of us are probably accessing even this session from their homes because we all have been forced to work from home due to the pandemic. And this has changed the dynamics of how remote work is actually done. So there is a huge number of enterprises who have moved to at least a partial work from home strategy, if not a full work from home strategy. And the traditional solutions that enabled such a work from home strategy, such as having VPN clients, has not really kept pace with uh, the demand that is generated by work from home workforces, right? And uh, this demand is in both dimensions, both from a server infrastructure standpoint and the ability to have capacity to handle such really large volume workloads, as well as being able to purchase new devices for hardware devices for your employees as well. For example, if you have recruited a large number of new workers in the past year, it was a challenge for many enterprises to actually have physical devices allotted to them. So there is a very clear need that has emerged to be able to deliver desktops as well as applications via a cloud-based delivery model. And that is a key trend that we're seeing through the COVID-19 pandemic. And security becomes a huge factor as well, because you would have seen a lot of recent announcements in the news. There are vulnerabilities, security lapses in many networking and security products, very prominent products. And there is a need to have a secure infrastructure for this growing workforce that is really working from home. And these are some of the key dynamics that really push towards having a cloud-based um, desktop virtualization as well as application virtualization. And that really is uh, the overall goal of Windows Virtual Desktop. So Windows Virtual Desktop is essentially a PaaS-based solution for desktop as well as application virtualization. There are some key differentiators that we have brought up through WVD. I just wanted to mention those here. This is the first Windows 10 desktop virtualization solution that is available in the market. And we've made one other very significant change in this, in the sense that we are now able to support Windows 10 multi-sessions, which essentially means that you can run multiple user sessions from a single virtual machine. What that gives you is really a great hosting density, a really economic and efficient way of hosting your VDI workloads as well as your application workloads. This environment is also heavily optimized for Office 365 applications. For example, if you're using Office Outlook in a cached mode, or if you're using OneDrive, or if you're using Cortana or UWP applications, all of these are very heavily optimized for WVD. We also made some recent updates to this. We enabled Teams to be accessed via WVD as well. And overall, this platform is pretty much unmatched for productivity from an office application standpoint. And this is primarily made available through one of our recent acquisitions in the past couple of years. We acquired a company called FS Logics that really makes it highly efficient to deliver profiles as well as office applications. And we are not leaving behind Windows Server as well. If you have an existing Windows Server portfolio, that is something that you can bring to WVD as well. We'll talk about the architecture and how it really gives you the ability to run Windows Server workloads as well. And since it's running on Azure, you really get the scale and the global footprint that Azure provides. So irrespective of where your workforce is, whether they're based in APAC or if you have additional workers that are based in Europe or America, you can really create a full-scale desktop virtualization solution in a matter of minutes. And there are really a number of case studies we have which customers have created an environment in a matter of hours, really. So it's a highly productive environment for setting up and scaling up as well. So quickly talking about the architecture, um, this architecture might be familiar to those of you who might come from a remote desktop services world. There are essentially two components. There is a control plane as well as the virtual machines or the infrastructure necessary for supporting your session hosts. So what we have made possible with Windows Virtual Desktop Native is essentially to make this control plane, that is the shared components like load balancing or web access and management. All of this has been made as a PaaS service, and that really reduces your overall infrastructure management effort, right? And you only have to maintain your actual virtual machines that run your user sessions. And we also manage the hardware infrastructure, which means that your overall effort with respect to your VDI environment management becomes really efficient. And since it runs in Azure, we leverage some of the key Azure services. For example, we use Azure Active Directory for identity, which means that you get all the benefits of Azure Active Directory in terms of security, such as conditional access or privileged identity management, multi-factor authentication. All of this is brought to you via Azure Active Directory. And you can still use the traditional tools that your IT team is more familiar with. You can use SCCM or Intune or any other tools that they are familiar with in terms of image management, update management, patch management, and so on. And that really gives you a great deal of agility. And it's not limited to the Microsoft managed control plane. We also have a partnership with Citrix as well as VMware, and we have enabled usage of Windows 10 multi-session for Citrix Cloud as well as VMware Horizon Cloud as well. So if you're more comfortable, if your processes are more aligned with, say, Citrix or VMware Horizon, you could still leverage the benefits that Windows 10 multi-session, FS Logics, and other benefits that Windows Virtual Desktop provide to you. So in all, you have the ability to mix and match the right infrastructure that you need, along with the benefits that WVD provides as well. And lastly, I just wanted to mention that many of you might already be eligible to run WVD in Azure. Uh, Many enterprises already have Microsoft 365 or Windows 10 licenses, one of these licenses, and that is sufficient to run WVD. So essentially, this entire control plane that we are talking about becomes available for you to use without an additional cost if you have one of these licenses present. And many enterprises already have this as well. And we also enable you to run Windows Server workloads as well through the traditional mechanism as well. And the Azure cause is very similar to your other Azure cause. You can use all the necessary Azure constructs to save cost in terms of Azure reserved instances and so on. So we've had a great deal of success with HCL. We've had quite a few customers who onboarded really large deployments, and we're very happy with the HCL solution that has been created, Cloud Workspace for Azure. I'll stop here and I will request Sayantan to carry forward with the Cloud Workspace and Azure solution. Thank you.
Thanks, Bala. Uh, Hopefully, I'm audible, clear and loud and clear, and you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Great, great. Thanks. Good morning and good afternoon, team. Thanks for joining this session. So my name is Sayantan, and I'm a part of the product management team in HCL. And today I would be talking to you about some of the key deployments that we have done using Windows Virtual Desktop for some of our clients across the globe. And I would also talk about some of the key differentiators which we have brought in, which helps the customer not only to deploy this Windows Virtual Desktop in hours, but also improve the end user experience and reduce the cost from both a deployment and a steady state support standpoint. So I think before we move to the specifics, I just wanted to spend a couple of minutes on what customers actually want. So we have been talking to customers about WVD for more than a year now. Even before COVID, we were talking to customers regarding this technology, how we can deliver an unmatched experience of both Windows of virtual desktop and application on Azure. And what we have seen is customers essentially want a solution that has these five key elements. Number one, it should be simple. By simple, I mean it should be easy to deploy, it should be easy to manage, and the support should be seamless. So that's a key requirement from the customers. Secondly, it should and this is really and this ask has really increased during the COVID times when customers needed to quickly move to an entirely work from home type of environment. So they wanted a scalable solution which has an on-demand scaling up and down of compute memory and resources. So they wanted to create an environment with their specific applications, with their devices in a matter of hours. So they wanted a solution which can do that. They wanted to reduce costs. A lot of companies in the time of the pandemic has seen their IT budgets cut or due to some of the unforeseen problems which we have seen in the economy, and so they wanted a solution which would be easy on their pockets. So they wanted a solution where they can reutilize some of their existing licenses, and they can have a payout model which is based on what they use instead of a huge capex investment. So that's another important thing. And the last two is it should be adaptable with resource with safe and assured access, high level of control, role-based access control should be enabled. It should be integrated and aligned to their security structure in their organization, especially with a lot of bad actors using the pandemic to steal personal data and company data from the employees. And finally, it should be reliable, and it should be always available, and it should be failover protected. So I think these are the key issues which a lot of our customers had. And based on our experience, what we feel is WVD has been able to resolve most, if not all, of these challenges. And it has been and we have been able to provide a highly intelligent, flexible, and secure digital workplace on the go, leveraging cloud optimized technology of Azure. And I think some of the two key things which customers have been saying is, number one is the experience. Their experience should be seamless when they move to a virtual environment. It should be same, or it should be even better as opposed to a physical desktop. And number two, it should be highly secure, so that their company data and identities are safe. I think these are the two key requirements. And finally, we also have the cost angle as well. So with our solution, we have been able to resolve these three key challenges of different organizations over the last year or so. So moving ahead, I'll just talk about the framework, how we deploy WVD for our for a lot of the organizations, both in APAC and across the globe. And what value adds we have brought in over the base solution. So if you see, I think one of the first things which we do as an organization when we talk about deploying a virtualization solution is we go for a consulting approach. We go for a data-driven consulting approach, and this is based on our profile kaleidoscope framework. So this is an approach where we try to understand all the users or all the employees in an organization. We try to understand what value they bring to their organization, and what are their different personas. And it's not just a conversational or a questionnaire based persona assessment, which a lot of our competitors do. We go for a fully data driven approach where we see what devices those people are using, what applications they're using, what from where the data is getting accessed, and based on and what is their role in the organization. Along with that, we marry the functional data, and we have detailed conversations with different groups of users, and we create different profiles or different personas, and based on that we decide which users should go to a virtual environment, and even in a virtual environment of a solution, which users should get a personal VDI, or a personal desktop, which users might go to a multi-session or a pool desktop, and for which users we can virtualize the app. So it's an end-to-end consulting exercise which we run, and based on that we provision different types of devices for the employees. So they can be personally configured, personally owned, corporate owned, corporate managed. So we have provisioned WVD on all these type of devices. People can connect from any place, any location, any internet connection, any device, and get a seamless access to their applications and their devices. And we have also integrated with the identity and access management solution which is there in the environment. Most of the customers we see are either a combination of Azure AD and on-prem AD, and we have integrated that to align with the identity and access solution of their environment. We are providing a efficient and a secure management of the WVD environment. And then we have brought in some value adds in the fields of cognition, automation, and analytics, and I'll be talking about those in the subsequent slide. But there are three key value adds which we're bringing on top of WVD. One is improving the end user experience. We are providing a distinctive experience. We are bringing in intelligence in the system, where the system can automatically detect issues and problems in a virtualized environment and get it resolved automatically. And finally, we are rationalizing costs by bringing in concepts such as auto scaling, auto shutdown, and proper management of the end-to-end environment, both during the deployment and also during the steady state, once it's deployed and the end users are using it. So that's what we are bringing in with our experience. Uh, and we have done it for more than 35 to 40 customers now across the globe. We have done it in APAC. We have done it in APAC. We have done it in Australia. We have done it in Singapore. We have also done it in New Zealand, and also in Europe and US as well. We have deployed this for a lot of the different customers, and I'll be talking about a few in the subsequent slides as well. So if you see, I think Bala has already talked about the product, what the product is. Now, the important thing is, and we would be deploying, or we are deploying WVD for a lot of the different users. But what you might want to understand is why HCL. Why would you want to go with HCL to deploy a WVD solution for your environment? So there are certain key things which I think might interest you. Number one, we are the only service provider who are bringing in a quantifiable user experience score with WVD. So what this essentially means is, when you deploy a WVD, both before deployment, during the profiling exercise, we enable a data-driven solution. It's a small agent which would sit in your machines, or sit in the user's machine and understand uh, and monitor what applications the end users are using, what is the performance, what is the system details, etc. And based on that, it will decide which users need to be moved to a WVD type of environment, number one. And number two, when an end users are using the WVD environment, it would do an end-to-end, both real-time and historical experience monitoring of the performance of your virtual environment. It would provide a data-driven user experience index. A lot of your customers, or a lot of your users might say, my experience is not good, uh, or it's not to my expectation. But in that case, now you would be able to determine what is the reason why your user is saying your experience is not good. And you would understand that these are the things which I need to change to improve my end user experience. So you add, and this system not only provides a quantifiable experience, it can auto remediate or proactively resolve your issues as well, thereby improving the end user experience. So I'll just give you an example of one of our customers for Europe. When we deployed this solution around a year, or not around 10 months back. And when we saw the experience that time, it was on a scale of 10, it was around 4. And over the last 6 months or so, we have been able to pinpoint the issues and improve the experience to now it's 8.5 out of 10. So that's a key value add which we have brought in. Secondly, we have also created a self-service portal, which is integrated with ServiceNow, and or any other ITSM tool which you might have, where end users can self provision tailor-made VMs for them based on their requirement, and the approval flow is also integrated. So your end user, provided it's approved for him or her to provision a VM, can go to a system and provision tailor-made VMs and do the end-to-end process very easily. Thirdly, automated deployment. Now this is the real value changer, or value add, or game changer which we have. Number one, we have created Azure DevOps based pipeline for automated deployment. Now, right from the provisioning to the application deployment, to the security and the monitoring, the end-to-end process of the deployment by HCL is automated using scripts. So we have created all these scripts, and that has reduced the time to deploy to a day or so. So now when we are deploying WVD for our customers, the actual deployment takes maximum of 24 to 48 hours. The rest of the time is taken to do the consulting approach, to talk to customers, to understand what are the challenges, etc. But the deployment takes less than 48 hours now, because this is an end-to-end process which we are doing to deploy a WVD using scripts, and this reduces the effort, reduces the cost, and reduces the time to deploy WVD in your environment. Uh, then I think management and performance, we are continuously bringing in new capabilities to improve the performance of WVD, and manage it simply using a centralized dashboard. And before I move to the next slide, I just wanted to talk about the virtual app delivery. I think application delivery is one of the key uh, things which you need to keep in mind when you deploy a virtual environment. So we have brought in a lot of technologies like application layering, application masking, and also we have brought in MSIX app attach. Now, what is this? I'll just give you a quick example of how this helps. So, for example, in your environment, you have a number of user profiles, and there are multiple apps which your end users might need to use, and that results in a lot of different or increase in the number of images. Now, that might be difficult to manage. So, with app layering technology, you can have all your apps in one single image, and based on the user profile and persona, it would be masked, and there would be different layers. And me as a sales user, if I log in, I would be able to only see the applications which are allowed for a sales user. And similarly, if someone from the technical team joins in, he or she would be able to see only those apps. So that's one value add. And secondly, we have also created more than 50 MSIX packages, where we are using MSIX app attached technology, where you can seamlessly provision applications and enable your environment very quickly and very easily in a virtual WVD environment. So I think these are some of the key value adds which we are bringing in from an experience standpoint, and I think these are the major differentiators which we have as opposed to a lot of our competitors in the market. Uh, from an intelligence standpoint as well, once your system is ready, uh, we have enabled an AI ops powered diagnostics, where our sensors, which would be sitting on your virtual machines, would be able to detect any pattern of and predict automatically whether there might be an error, and based on that proactive prediction, it can automatically resolve the issues by running scripts in the backend, and before issue gets created for the end user. So what we are trying to develop, or what we have developed for our customers, is an end-to-end automated solution with cognition, automation, and analytics baked into to the standard WVD solution. As you can see, we have also integrated a WVD with our cognitive virtual assistant Lucy. So using this, once your end users have been provisioned with the WVD solution, for any standard issues, they can talk to a cognitive bot, and the bot will be able to resolve the issue. And you can also, and as I talked about, the request management or the self-service portal, that also has been integrated with a cognitive bot. So you can now request your VMs or create your VMs right from a cognitive bot, which is there, which is also a cloud-based bot, and which is also there on Azure. And you can also integrate that with Teams as well. So I think these are some of the new value adds which we're bringing. Proactive support I already talked about. And finally, we have a, a detailed dashboard, and I'll show you a couple of the screenshots of these dashboards, which provide optimized insights and a clear visibility on your user desktops, what applications they're using, what challenges they're facing, so that IT can quickly diagnose and resolve the problems which they have. So I think these are the key value adds. So we have brought in, I guess, 8 or 10 value adds from HCL perspective, which we would be enabling and we have enabled for a lot of our customers. And if you see some of the screenshots, and it's not just there on the slides, and these are actual screenshots which we are getting from our different customer deployments. So as you can see, this is an end-to-end user experience core which we have. We have a self-service portal. This is the bot I was talking about in the right-hand side, where you can request for a VM and it would be provisioned. And we also have a centralized management platform where you can have an end-to-end visibility on what your end users are doing. And we also have a proactive management. You can have these insights, and you can also see self-healing, where you can see in one of our customers, Excel was corrupted in a virtual environment, and automatically it got fixed by the sensor which detected that there is a problem, and then it resolved the issue. So I think this gives a view of how our end-to-end automated solution works for a lot of our customers. And these are actual customer screenshots which I'm showing you in this slide. So moving ahead, I think quickly talk about a few automations which we have developed. And I think some of the key, and if you see this 8 buckets, I think these 8 are the key requirements, or the most important part of any WBD or any virtual solution deployment. You you need to have a provisioning mechanism. You need to do a user profile management. You need to decide on the delivery platform how to uh, deliver applications, and then you have the standard security monitoring and HANDR. So across all these 8 key buckets, we have deployed more than 100 automation scripts, and these are all Azure DevOps pipeline and PowerShell scripts which we have created. And we have seen up to 60% reduction in the deployment time and effort. And with our auto scale and auto management scripts, we have seen up to 30% reduction in the Azure spend, which you need to spend for your WBD once it's deployed. And this number has been continuously increasing. So we are continuously deploying more and more scripts. As more and more scripts come in, this deployment timeline and the Azure spend has been continuously rising. So uh, around 2.5 months back, this deployment time we were able to reduce by around 30%. But now, as we are continuously bringing in more scripts, we are reducing the time to a large extent, and it's a continuous process. We are continuously developing, and we are following a DevOps model, where even during operations we are continuously deploying scripts to improve both the experience and also reduce the cost and time for our customers in different WVD deployments. So I think these are some of the key value adds which we have. Uh, Moving to the deployment approach, I think HCL is one of the key system integrators which have been able to follow a detailed project management methodology to deploy WVD for a lot of our customers. I think what we generally go for is we start with a pilot approach. We select a group of users, and this is again based on the consulting framework profile kaleidoscope which we have. We select a group of users, we select the key applications, and we do a quick pilot in your environment. We try to understand and and so that it's also clear to you how the WVD functions and whether you're happy with the experience. And we the pilot can be and we can deploy the entire thing in less than 2 weeks, and then maybe you can run the pilot for a month or so to experience how the WVD functions. And during that 1 month pilot, HCL would provide you with a single point of contact who would continuously talk to your users to understand their challenges and in real time resolve those issues, so that maybe 1 or 2 months down the line after you have completed the pilot, you're at a stage where all your issues or maximum of your issues which you might have faced have been resolved, so that you go for a full-fledged deployment. And we have been deploying Windows 10 multi-session, Windows 10 single session, Windows 7 RDSH servers as well. So deploying, installing, publishing, and then troubleshooting. So it's an end-to-end managed service which we provide. So right from deployment to management and also steady state support. So it's an end-to-end thing which we're talking about, where we would not just provision and leave you. We would do an end-to-end support, and we would be the single point of contact for any issues you might face going forward in WVD. So that's our approach. It's an end-to-end approach where we are responsible for providing you a better experience on a virtual environment. Moving ahead, I think this is a quick view of a conceptual architecture. I'll not spend much of time on that, but I think, as you can see, Azure is available in more than 140 countries, hosted in 54 regions, and I think this has been continuously increasing. And as you see, uh, uh, from I think one key part is this is deployed on Azure, and you can have persistent desktops, non-persistent, published applications, everything. The key part is the control plane. Now, in WVD, as Bala said, you have a native WVD control plane, which is the native Azure control plane. Uh, we have deployed scripts, and we have automated a lot of those deployments, which is a cost effective and cost effective solution for you. But for some of your users, or in some cases, you might need some value add over the standard WVD management console. So there comes the different organizations like Citrix, VMware, Nerdio, where they bring in their own value adds, especially from a hybrid deployment type of a scenario, uh, where maybe some part of your users are still there, or some part of your virtualization is still on-prem, and a group of users is on cloud. So for those type of scenarios, you can have these additional management consoles as well. So in that case, your devices and your applications, they all sit on Azure. Just the management console, instead of the native WVD, you have Citrix and VMware. These bring in certain added value adds, especially from an application delivery, hybrid management, and a scaling perspective. So in certain cases, you might need that. We have deployed these WVD with these management consoles as well in a lot of customers. Around 6 to 7 of our customers, the larger ones, have been deployed with Citrix. Uh, VMware and Nerdio as well are some of our key partners for deploying WVD across different organizations. So that's something which I just wanted to talk about. That it's not just native WVD, but it's we can do it with Nerdio, VMware, and Citrix as well. Quickly moving to the solution offers, I think we have three key solution offers, and before I talk about these, I just want to just very uh, clearly state that these are the t-shirt sizes which we have. Having said that, these can all be customized and tailored according to your needs. So we have a quick jumpstart pilot, which we can enable a pilot for 50 to 100 users. For you can so generally it's for 50 users, but you can go to 100 users as well. It can be completed in less than 2 to 3 weeks, and as I said, the deployment takes less than 48 hours. the 2 to 3 weeks which is needed is for the initial customer conversations to understand what applications they have, what are the user groups, etc. So if we can reduce that time, the deployment takes less than 48 hours, as I said. Similarly, you have a sprint where that's it's a bigger pilot where you have multiple images and more applications. Here you can have 10 applications, 5 standard, 5 non-standard. You can enable Azure Log Analytics. You can manage through Portal, Nerdio, Citrix, any one of them. You have and then you have the Accelerate program, where it's an end-to-end deployment of your entire environment on WVD. Here you can do Windows 10 multi-session, single session, remote desktop, anything. You can do your security and networking controls, your identity management, image management. So the end-to-end deployment can be provided to you. So that's the timeline there is not mentioned, but I think the quick pilots can be completed in a period of maximum 6 weeks. And 6 weeks, as I said, I just again want to reiterate that this 6 weeks is the maximum time is for the initial consulting. To deploy, it's less than 2 to 3 days, because it's all automated with our solution. And as you can see, there are a few prerequisites. I think you would need an Azure subscription. You would need Azure AD for authentication, and it's better if you have Express Route or VPN set up for accessing the corporate resources, which might be there on your data center. So I think these are some of the key prerequisites. So, but I think we can always work with you to enable these prerequisites in case some of you might not have them handy already. So I think these are some of the solution offers which we have from a cloud workspace standpoint. Uh, and I just wanted to talk about some of our key Azure practice highlights. So we are one of the top gold certified partners in Microsoft Azure. As you can see, across across customers, we have migrated more than 250 clients to Azure. We have more than 3,000 plus certifications on Azure, and out of that, 750 are also trained on modern workplace. So WVD is not only about Azure; it's about provisioning a secure digital workplace. So I think it's important they have experience on Intune, they have experience on Teams, and they have experience on Office 365. So out of these 3,000 plus certifications on Azure, we have 750 digital workplace certified resources as well. And if you see, and this is not something we are telling, if you see some of the key analysts, what they're talking about us, Everest Group says that from a system integrator capability on Azure, HCL is positioned as a leader, and it's not just as a leader, we are among the leader of the leaders. So we are positioned number 2 globally. Just Accenture is above us, but all the but we are better than all other SIs globally in the Everest Group SI capability matrix. We have managed more than we are managing more than 120K virtual machines, and we have engaged in data center transformations, and we are managing more than 400 petabytes of storage, 60K databases. So it's we are experienced in doing that, and we have been doing that for a lot of our customers. So I think quickly talking about some of the key success stories. So and I just want to complete this quickly so that we have some time for the questionnaires. So I think one of our key customers is the world's leading producer of industrial minerals, where we have deployed 26 applications and more than 5,000 users on WVD. And this is the 5,000 users is when we deployed it. It's continuously increasing. So it's not that once you have deployed it and it's done. The number of users are continuously increasing. Then, as I said, we provide a managed service where we are currently supporting that environment. We are deploying more users, more applications, and we understood the challenge. The reason we did that was they needed an integrated service provider who can enable remote work for critical users, and this was for COVID, and we were able to provision this in less than 2 weeks time, and out of that the initial 1 week was all about discussions. The entire thing we provisioned in a week's time, and they were ready to go. And so as you can see, they have derived a lot of benefits from this solution. They now can access their devices and their applications from any location. So their experience is not dependent on the IT estate. It can be any device, any location, any internet connection. It's a robust security model. We have integrated this solution with Azure AD for identity purpose, and we have also integrated with different SIM and source solutions like Sentinel for getting a clear visibility on the security. And we have, again, as I said, we have quantified the end user experience score and proactively resolved a lot of the issues to improve their end user experience. So I think this is one key customer. I think we have two more big customers: a Fortune 500 American manufacturer of industrial tools. We also have a technology and a market leader in steel wire transformation coatings. So at this point, these are the key deployments which we have done. But as I said, we have deployed this in more than 35 customers across the globe, and continuously we are deploying these solutions for a lot of our customers. We are doing quick pilots, and we are making we are adding value adds, and then we are going ahead and deploying the solutions to enable a remote work, a secure remote work type of environment for our customers. So I think that was it from my end. Any questions? I would be happy to answer for and any part where you feel you might want to understand more. I would be really happy to answer those questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Bala and Sentin, for an interesting and insightful session. We would like to take up the questions now. Audience, please feel free to click on the hand raise button or type down your questions in the chat or Q&A.
I think Sapna, questions are also
Yeah.
answered in the meanwhile. I think
Yes.
there were 3 questions which already got answered. So
Yes. Yeah. So as we are coming up on to few minutes before the end of the session, and hopefully we always like to end on time, I would like to thank our distinguished panel representing HCL and Microsoft. I would also like to thank our very enthusiastic audience for joining us today.
Thank you, everyone. We are closing for the day. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.